You are just accessing that one part of infinity in which you have all these desires fulfilled and calling it into being by awakening it within you. You awaken that feeling, and that is what calls it into physical expression. Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I want to share with you how to manifest multiple things at once. Many of us want multiple things. When you learn about manifesting, it's not that there's just one specific thing that you want to bring into your life and your experience, but there's probably quite a few things. Some of them may be bigger than others, but if we can't really condense one scene to contain everything that we want in our lives, then how do we go about manifesting things? Because you may not want to go one by one, right? First, well, I want good health, and then I want wealth, and then I want to be known. It can be a bit of a pain trying to find the perfect scene that embodies all of these things. So today I'm going to share with you two possibilities for how you can go about manifesting multiple things at once. One I spoke about the other day is having an imaginal conversation with a friend. So this is great because it's like you're catching up. Imagine you're meeting up somewhere and you're just catching up saying, oh, I got a promotion and I'm healthier than I've ever been. You can just add on as many things as you want. You can literally list out everything that's going on in your perfect imagined life. That's really just a matter of, can you make that imaginal scene feel real? If you're sitting in a coffee shop with a friend and they're looking at you and they say, how have you been? And you say, I'm better than I've ever been. You work up a feeling of ecstasy as you tell them, everything is wonderful. I'm in the best shape of my life. I've never had more money. I have never been so successful. Whatever it is that you're creating, you can just list them out in that conversation, okay? And that's an easy way to kind of say that you have all these things. And then of course you see them empathize with your joy, not sympathize, empathize with your joy. And you see it on their face. You activate those mirror neurons in the brain to make it even more vivid and real. And of course, you just keep it short, keep that conversation short. So it's just them asking, how are you? How have you been? And you list out what it is, okay, all the things that you want. And then you just allow yourself to stop and then repeat that scene. Looking in their eyes, maybe put your hand on them to make it more vivid and real. And just allow yourself to replay this scene, adding more sensory vividness, more emotional activation, if that's something you would feel. I presume you would be feeling very, very good emotionally and spiritually, mentally, if you had all these things that you're listing out. So just try and make it as accurate as possible, okay? You are method acting when you are in imagination, but you also recognize that what you're doing there is God acting, okay? So you are making it real. It is not that you're imagining to make something happen in the physical, it's that you're imagining it, and for that reason, it is real. All things exist because the nature of infinity is infinite. You are just accessing that one part of infinity in which you have all these desires fulfilled and calling it into being by awakening it within you. You awaken that feeling, and that is what calls it into physical expression. The same way that anything starts by imagination, okay? The camera that I'm looking into was first imagined. It started as an idea, and then as it gained energy, it became real, and it became a physical expression. And here it is, and I'm speaking to you now. Just like this holiday festive jacket I'm wearing, Merry Christmas by the way, but it is started as an idea, just like anything starts as an idea. Right now, the fulfillment of your desires is starting as an idea, but you allow that idea to gain energy by putting yourself in that situation, making it vivid and real, activating as many of your imaginal senses as you can. Of course, if you have aphantasia, if you can't visualize, you can still use conversation, imaginal conversation. And so at that point, you want to make sure you incorporate hearing your friend congratulate you and hear the joy and them empathizing with your joy, because you won't be able to see it on their face or look in their eyes. So that is your first option. Your second option is something that Neville talks about in one of his books, and it's really condensing the idea to a single thought. This is what Neville says when asked how to manifest multiple things. Personally, I like to confine my imaginal act to a single thought, but that does not mean I will stop there. During the course of a day, I may imagine many things, but instead of imagining lots of small things, I would suggest that you imagine something so big it includes all the little things. Instead of imagining wealth, health, and friends, imagine being ecstatic. You could not be ecstatic and be in pain. You could not be ecstatic and be threatened with a dispossession notice. You could not be ecstatic if you were not enjoying a full measure of friendship and love. What would the feeling be like were you ecstatic without knowing what had happened to produce your ecstasy? Reduce the idea of ecstasy to the single sensation. Isn't it wonderful? Do not allow the conscious reasoning mind to ask why, because if it does, it will start to look for visible causes, and then the sensation will be lost. Rather, repeat over and over again, isn't it wonderful? Suspend judgment as to what is wonderful. Catch the one sensation of the wonder of it all, and things will happen to bear witness to the truth of this sensation. And I promise you, it will include all the little things. This is absolutely brilliant because, as always, I agree with Neville on saying that feeling is the secret. So if you are feeling ecstatic, what is implied? All of this is about meaning, okay? In the beginning there was the Word was with God, and the Word was God. And the Word translates to meaning, or the plan of what's to happen. So it's all about the implication. That's why when we imagine a scene, then we're imagining something past the point of fulfillment, okay? Not the fulfillment of our desire itself, but past the point of fulfillment, telling someone about it, or experiencing driving the car instead of buying the car, or sleeping in the house instead of buying the house, because it implies that you own it. It implies that it is already done. And that is the meaning. The meaning is that you got what you wanted. In the past, it is done. So that in the same way is referring to when you pray, pray as though you have received it. Received, past tense, and it will come to pass, okay? Then that's how you know. It's not pray as though you are receiving it. It's pray as though you have received it, because if you've already received it, that implies it's done. You got what you wanted. So you focus on the feeling, all right? And that's not just emotional. It can be. You can work up emotion, and I found that helps manifest more quickly because it generates more energy within yourself. But it's not necessarily just an emotion. It is a feeling, a state of consciousness in which you experience the fulfillment of your desire. You are mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally satisfied by the fulfillment of your desire. So that's what he's doing here. Your ecstasy, you're choosing to be ecstatic and not allowing the reasoning mind to say, well, what do I have to be ecstatic about? You don't let that part of your mind, that human side, that logical side, ruin the feeling. You simply allow that feeling, being driven by the phrase, isn't it wonderful, or thank you, or something short like that. Make it no more than 2 or 3 words. And you allow that to repeat in your mind until that emotional excitement, that ecstasy, crowds out all other ideas. There is nothing else on your mind. There's no reason as to why you are feeling ecstasy. It's just pure ecstasy, the wonder of it all. And that will allow you to draw into your life all the things which would make you ecstatic, which includes everything on your list of wanting to manifest multiple things, because of course you would be ecstatic. When you maintain that feeling of ecstasy, then life must provide experiences which will cause your ecstasy. That is the same reason why it is said, only the loving find love, and they never have to seek for it. Because that feeling, that loving nature is what attracts the love, okay? If you want to look at it like the law of attraction. But what you're doing is you are assuming the feeling of love, which means that life, physical experience, which, as I have said before, is a time-dilated reflection of your consciousness, it must reflect. It's going to reflect whatever your state is. So if you're in a state of pure ecstasy, without any question or reasoning or logic as to why you are feeling so ecstatic, then it will be reflected in your physical experience. It is up to you. This is why there are so many different ways to go about manifesting your desires that you can really pick and choose. Maybe you feel better manifesting one way or another way, but you have options, okay? You have options. You can always choose a new scene if your imaginal scene gets dry or boring, but you have options and you are free. So make it a priority to be ecstatic. I find that in my experience, there's going to be bumps in the road. Life isn't perfect. That's the nature of physical experience. There's going to be ups and downs. But if I find myself in a situation where there's a problem or something which I would like to see changed in my physical experience, then the trick is to not react. If you're reacting, then you get emotionally worked up in a negative way, most likely, based on your previous experiences that have been similar, right? That's the nature of the ego. It's trying to protect you. So it says, get really worked up and upset about this thing that's right here in your face. But when you know your power, when you know that your imagination is the one cause of the phenomena of life, you know yourself to be God, then you do not have to react anymore. You can pause, take a moment, and just realign, okay? Maybe the bank account isn't reflecting the millions of dollars that you're manifesting. It's okay. It doesn't mean that you have to freak out and stress out and try and figure out where the next dollar is going to come from. You simply choose ecstasy, because the truth is you could not be ecstatic if you were facing a financial issue. So you choose ecstasy in that moment in spite of what this 3D physical experience is showing you. And that's how you turn away, okay? That is repentance. It is a radical change of attitude. So you allow yourself to repent. Change your mental attitude no matter what your physical experience is showing you, and you'll be free. And truly, freedom is what I want to teach this for. I want to spread this so that people know that they can always turn to themselves. They don't need anything on the outside in order to manifest what they desire and make their physical experience easier. And if your life is easier, then you can begin to focus on who you want to be and be that person. Okay, provide something to the world, or don't. It doesn't matter, but whatever makes you happy, because we are all one. And if you're happy, I'm happy. Thank you so much for watching. Merry Christmas. I love you all very much, and I will see you next time. Take care.